Breezeway, approximately 6 foot off the property line. Match existing. District is estimated use of existing premises, residential, single-family home. Proposed premises the same. States the reasons of ground and support the variance. Stances, before us, topic, preservation right, property line was established after the home was built, rendering home to be non-conforming. Adjournment, under requesting to build a new garage where there is currently refurbished garage, de-crafted. Not the general problem. Not looking to approach property line any further than the home. And home construction already is.
I don't hear anything.
Because of the rain, you might have to speak up a little bit so the
Oh, okay. We got minutes. We need to approve. November 13th of 2019. Minutes.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Wednesday, November 13th, 2019 as written.
I'll second.
Motion, second. Approve the minutes as written. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All same sign. The minutes are approved. Go through the reasons of ground. Want to go through the conditions, or up to the applicant.
Sure. This is a public hearing.
Yes. He's open hearing.
Well, we first have the general public comment portion of the agenda.
Okay. I didn't see any. Okay. That's it. Okay. Okay, we're open for general public comment on non-agenda items.
if you do want to speak right now and you're on Zoom, if you could raise your hand virtually, The only person I see on here that I'm unsure if there's someone by the name of Cosera. Again, Patrick Nolan.
Okay. We are open for public comments on non-agenda items at this time. State your name and address for the record, please.
Patrick, looks like you're talking, but we can't hear you.
He's a board member.
You can read lips.
You probably read lips.
I can't hear him either.
So,
Can't?
I cannot hear Patrick either.
Randy? Can you hear me, Randy?
Yeah, that's better. You got to speak louder or turn the mic up or something, though.
Can you hear me, Randy?
No, I got you. Where's
Well,
Rogers? He alive?
a little loud, okay?
Okay.
Patrick, if in your
Okay.
lower left-hand corner by your mute, there's an arrow that you can click, and you can say, in that menu, switch to phone audio. And then you can use that to either call you or dial into that number, and then you can use a phone to talk to us, if able.
Bob, did we approve the minutes already?
Yes, we did. We approved the minutes. Hear that? Okay. That goes by.
Gotcha. 10-4.
We have been approved with no change.
Okay.
And I've read the applicant's reasons and grounds in support of the variance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the applicant on here right now with one of us?
I think you need to unmute Dan.
I can hear you, yes.
Hey, Dan.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't hear Patrick, though.
If we can't hear Patrick, it's okay. He can either dial the number to call in by phone. Otherwise, for voting purposes, he could raise his hand. Kind of new to navigating this whole thing. We had a planning commission member who was there, but he wasn't able to say anything, and we couldn't see his video. So his votes didn't count because we weren't able to see his hand raised or anything like that. But we just kind of powered through the meeting.
Can Patrick hear us?
It looks like he can. He's giving a thumbs up and back to what we said before.
Maybe trying to call.
Are we ready for the reason? Ready for the applicant to
I would say it'd be okay to move forward with.
Is there anything else that would like to add to this at this time?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Dan, can you hear?
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add to your application?
No, I don't have anything else, no.
Okay.
I'd like a clarification on this, and maybe Dan can give me that. Through these papers, I guess I'd like to have a clarification on the size, because our potential motion says that it's per the site plan submitted. But the,
So there was some confusion early on for size limitations. I was told the house was 1,500 square feet and it's not. So the garage in the most recent update on the proposal, or the most recent site plan, is 24 by 34 for the garage and 14 by 24 for the breezeway.
By 24.
May I add some clarification?
Sure.
In the beginning of my staff report, there's a typo. In where the request is bold and underlined, and it says to allow for the construction of an attached 832 square foot building. That should say 816 square feet. Does that answer your question?
well, the site plan that's been submitted. Site plan that says submitted, the garage 24 by 34, but yet the description said 24 by 36. And the proposed breezeway on site plan shows 14 by 24, but the narrative says 12 by 24.
So the applicant had to revise his site plan a few times. The first one that he submitted is coincides with what's on the application. So what is in the site plan dated 2/10/2020? It's the site plan dated 2/10 of 2020. That's the site plan that if the variance is granted, the building should be constructed. Yep. Any question? Okay.
Any other questions from the applicant?
So right now, is the house 6.8 feet from the property line?
6.8 feet currently, yeah.
It's been from the beginning of time.
I think we had a lot of those on Maplerow at one time
Yeah.
that were larger lots, And then at some point, it went through
Combine some of it.
and people sold off part of their lots, which allows some of these lots that are only like 63 feet wide or something.
Well, this whole street's kind of narrow, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole streets are all narrow, so they, almost like they re-subdivided the thing, and they're not all the same.
Like we had something across the street earlier last year.
Yeah, the years I've been on, we've probably had a half a dozen on Maplerow up there.
There was something that had to do with a fence, I believe.
Yeah.
Did you want me to go through my, just my, staff report?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What I'm going to do here is just share my screen so that I can give you guys a little, I've got a little presentation here.
Okay.
What we're looking at is 1328 Maplerow. The applicant is requesting dimensional variance where he would like to build an attached garage and breezeway to an existing home that's currently 6.8 feet from the northern property line, where 10 feet is required for the suburban residential district. This is what, somewhat current conditions, this is roughly what the home looks like. I drove by there. All the mature trees on the southern property line are there. The driveway is still the same. You can see that the house is sort of pushed toward the northern property line. There is a breezeway, or I'm sorry, a three-season porch that was constructed. I don't know when it was constructed. I couldn't find a building permit for it, but it is on the south side of the home. So, some more property information about this address. The home is located in the Maplewood Edition plat, which was approved in 1911. And I provided in your packet a sort of a snapshot that compares both existing lots and their dimensions with what the original plat looked like. And you can see that what we were speaking about earlier, some of the lots have been combined, some of them have been left alone. So all the lots in the very beginning were 63 feet away. This one is lot 16. I've got it highlighted in blue on this page in the Maplewood plat edition. I'm sorry, the Maplewood edition plat. And so the lot was created at 63 feet. Whether it was combined and split back out again, I'm not totally sure. But I know that 63 feet in width was its original width per the plat when it was approved. The existing home that's sitting on the lot was built in 1920. It's also situated 6.8 feet from the northern side property line. Again, the width of the lot is 63 feet. The existing detached garage, which is 480 square feet, is proposed to be demolished if the variance is granted for the construction of the attached garage. And as I said, there's a three-season porch on the south side of the home. That's not shown in the aerial or the street views. From the three-season porch, there's a distance of roughly 20 feet to the south property line, according to my rough aerial photo measurement. And so with this request, I've provided you with the site plan, public hearing notice, historical survey drawn by Glaza and Associates, which was from 1998 when when a variance was applied for back then to build in addition to the front of the home. There's a zoning general location map and aerial photography, and then again, the Maplewood addition to that map versus the current lot layouts. So in reviewing the variance criteria, so you've got 4 criteria that the applicant must meet in order for the variance to be granted. I've gone through each one and made a determination as to whether or not that criterion has been met, or if it needs to be discussed further by the zoning board to make that determination. So the first one, exceptional or extraordinary circumstances. This one has to do with conditions applied to the property in question as to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same zoning district. So the applicant's response is that the narrowness of the property, the 63 feet width, is the extraordinary circumstance. Today's standard for width in the suburban residential district is 90 feet. So it's a substandard lot, it's non-conforming. Does the non-conformity itself allow for meeting that criterion? If you take a look at the property, and if I'll go to the site plan here, if this three-stall garage was pushed to the south 5 feet, could the 10-foot setback be met? Or are there some other challenges that are posed by having a side load garage? So the narrowness of the property, I don't think is a circumstance which would prevent the applicant from meeting the 10-foot wide, I'm sorry, the 10-foot side yard setback to the north. But we've got another challenge here, which we may need some clarification from the applicant as to whether or not turning into a side load garage presents a challenge with a turning radius. Does it need to be pushed to the north a certain distance to allow for being able to make that turn to go into the garage? And we can have the applicant clarify that, and then the discussion among zoning board members as to whether or not that criterion is here. Yes.
Existing garage, or also the same?
The existing garage is actually closer. It's 4 feet from the property line, 4.9 feet from the property line, according to this survey. 28. And so go back to the criteria here. So again, does the narrowness of the property and turning radius needed for a side load garage constitute an exceptional or extraordinary circumstance? So the next one would be preservation of rights. Meaning, are there other properties in the same zoning district that are an attached garage in the same manner that the applicant is proposing to build an attached garage? And with that one, we could say that I believe that that criterion has been met. His response is that the property line was established after the home was built, rendering the home to be non-conforming. I don't believe that the property line has ever changed unless it was at one time combined with another parcel and then split again. But if that were to happen, there's houses on either side of it that were also built in the early 1900s. So I'm not sure the accuracy to that or not, but in reviewing this criteria, Within the general vicinity, there's at least a dozen homes that have an attached garage, also in the suburban residential district. So with that said, the nonconformity itself in the circumstance would not prevent the property owner to have an attached garage like others in the general vicinity. So I believe that criteria has been met. The next one, whether it's a detriment or not, so you've got a non-conforming structure, or you've got a non-conforming lot with a house on it that doesn't meet today's standard for side yard setback, situated at 6.8 feet from the northern side property line. What the applicant is asking to do is construct an attached garage in line. I'll go back to that. Site plan here. Proposing to construct it in line with what's already there. And so if the home is posing a detriment to the neighboring property owners, then the extension of that non-conforming structure, would that be a detriment? Adding to that non-conforming structure. One thing that I've noticed, I'm gonna go back to this slide here. If you look at how this house is situated on the parcel, many of the parcels to the north, and there's a little snapshot of this in my staff report. The parcels to the north you'll find have homes or garages. They're all just kind of pushed to the northern property line. So whether that was a thing that was done on purpose way back in the early 1920s, or if that was somehow a surveying error at one point in time to show exactly where those property lines are, I'm not totally sure. But what I can say with the homes that are pushed towards that north property line is that that makes it so there's a greater distance between the existing home at 13.8 Maple and the house to the north. So I believe that it wouldn't provide any more negative impact on the neighboring properties than what it already has, if any. So I also don't believe that it would materially impair the intent and purpose of the ZBA chapter or the public interest. So the next criterion here is whether or not this request is a general problem, and is it the type of request that exists often enough or is requested often enough to warrant a change in the ordinance in order to prevent future requests for variances and having it heard by the zoning board of appeals, to amend the zoning ordinance to create a different standard for some of these older homes and in these older plats.
I think we ought to open the hearing up.
I'm sorry?
Should we open the hearing up or not?
Do you want me to finish, or do you want to?
Do you think any of this on the hearing or what?
He's almost done.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So the last one, I'll just kind of go through this quickly, but we've already got a section of the zoning ordinance that addresses some of these non-conforming lots and structures. So in the non-conforming chapter, we've got section 94-136 that says structures or uses non-conforming by reason of height, area, parking, and off-street loading provisions only may be extended, enlarged, altered, remodeled, or modified, provided that no additional encroachment of such provision is occasioned thereby. So it means you've got this non-conforming structure. can it be extended or enlarged because it's not conforming? In this case, it's not being proposed to encroach any further into the setback than what the non-conforming home already is. So it meets the criteria of being able to be enlarged. But this section kind of keeps tabs on those types of extensions or enlargements. And anytime you have a non-conforming situation and you want to have relief from the letter of the ordinance, you have to seek a variance from the zoning board of appeals. I believe that to address the nature of the request and whether it happens so frequently that an ordinance amendment is warranted to avoid the excessive granting of variances in the same zoning district, I feel that creating a uniform side yard setback for substandard narrow lots would be excessive and could actually have some unintended consequences. Because obviously not all lots are created equal. So with that said, I've created I've summarized the 4 criteria, and I ask that you use the language provided in my staff report when you make a motion. And then I recommend, if you are so inclined to grant variance, I recommend that you add a condition to have the applicant construct the attached garage and breezeway in accordance with the site plan and included with this packet dated 2/10/2020. Questions or comments?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm good. I'm all set. I understand.
Make a motion to open the meeting.
Okay, Roger, makes a motion to open. Support. Support. All in favor, open the meeting, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Close
Aye.
It is open.
I have a question for Dan. We're talking about 3.2 feet. Can you justify not moving the garage and breezeway 3.2 feet away from that property line?
So the way that the house is laid out, we would be offset from the house. And so aesthetics of the house, there's several reasons to do this. One is aesthetics of the house and tying the roof lines together. That's one reason. 2 is pure enjoyment of the backyard and starting to block any view. I mean, there's very little view already of her backyard from inside her house, and she does have some nature and wildlife because it's quite a deep lot. So that's another. And then, a crew cab short box, not even a crew cab long box pickup truck, is about 20 feet long, and the turn getting into the garage, only having 30 feet to the front of the garage from the property line already, is tight. And I'm just using that truck as an example because that's the kind of truck I drive. And it's more and more common nowadays, that style truck. And her driveway is actually not all the way tight to the property line. It's a few feet off the property line. So she's already lost of that 30 feet, 2 or 3 feet possibly of it. And so trying to make that swing into the garage is already a tight swing and would only become that much tighter.
Thank you.
Oh. Oh.
Did you lose Randy and Patrick?
Yeah. Drop it over there.
Dan, do the neighbors have any concerns over this?
None that I am aware of. The homeowner and the neighbors are all on very good terms, and they have talked in the past, but no concerns have been brought to either hers or my attention.
It's all been notified.
That house has been sitting.
Yeah. Yeah. Really.
She's gonna get.
Yeah.
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 You did have the house over and everything.
Put it closer.
You got any questions, Randy?
One question in my mind, if the garage was detached, what's the side yard setback for a detached garage? What's the minimum? Anybody know?
In this zoning district, it's 10 feet.
10 feet, okay. For a detached, not attached. Okay. I guess in some of the other municipalities that I visit, and like Wyoming and Granville, some of those detached garages usually were 3 feet or 5 feet from side yard setback lines, historically speaking. So that's why I was wondering if what ours was.
I don't have that number, but I happen to believe that if I read it right, I believe it was 6 feet actually in the zoning ordinance. If it's a detached garage, it actually could be 6 feet off, but we didn't want to go that route. We really wanted to have a breezeway so that way she could walk from the house to the garage.
Right. Well, I know when I built in Chesterfield Heights, we did a lot of different things over there with those narrow lots to get. We were down. You remember that, Bob? We were down to 6 feet, 7 foot side yards on some of those.
Yes.
We had a formula there that we did something based on a 90-foot lot. I don't remember, but a lot of those were 55 foot wide, 60-foot lots, 60 right in that area too. So I don't recall what that formula was. But.
Well, the existing garage is 4 feet roughly from the property line?
Yeah, I saw that 4.9 feet or something.
Backing off a couple foot.
So we're actually making it better, right?
Correct.
I mean, we're actually moving it further away from the line. So.
Still non-conforming, but it's not improving anymore.
More control.
You ready for a motion?
Yeah, you want to go down through the.
Do I go through the criteria?
Do we need to close the hearing first, though?
Yeah, we need to close the public hearing, yes.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Public hearing. All in favor of closing the hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hold same sign. Hearing is closed. Use the make motion.
Motion?
Yeah, if you're ready to make a motion. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go by Trish's. The property owner at 1328 Maple Northwest. Construct an 816-foot three-stall side-load garage via a 336 square feet breezeway, 6.8 feet from the northern side property line, where 10 foot is required for section 94-188 side yard setback in the SA suburban residential zoning district, per the site plan submitted on 2/10/2020.
Here, more comments on it, or call for a vote? All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Pose same sign.
Good eye from you, Randy.
Did we just grant that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. Sounds good.
All right.
Want to make sure we have more.
Yeah, I'm on it. I approve.
I don't know if Patrick heard it or not, but you got it, right? Yeah.
I'm not on there anymore. I don't know where he went.
Oh, wish we have any
We're
more.
gonna wait till we get a full board, we'll let the
I
officer.
think he's gone.
You can do that.
We should do that if we're get them together.
Yeah, I didn't even think to put that on the agenda.
Normally do it the first meeting.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And this is the first meeting, but
Yeah. If we can.
Raj, how's he gonna sign the application?
That's what my question was.
All right. See if you can find that one packet. It's gotta be here somewhere.
Yeah, I will definitely look for that.
That help a lot.
Okay.
nothing else on the agenda.
That's it.
That's it.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. So here's support.
Or,
All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those things-
Aye.
You aye? What'd you say?
That's
Your
Randy's
favor?
aye.
Huh? Okay. We are unanimous, I guess. I don't know what happened, Patrick. Don't see him anymore.
We lost him somewhere.
Yeah.
We have
All right, what do we do now? Hang up?